Welcome to the Sofa Stories podcast. Now let's get into it.
Okay, it's episode 25 of the Sofa Stories podcasts. We're here on the Ruxley at Arighi Bianchi. Nick, who have we got with us today?
We've got a family man, a comedian, an actor, a TV star, a DJ, a doyen of the pantomime world, a paddle addict. He loves ice baths. He's a charity fundraiser, a soccer aid legend, Jason Manford.
Oh, wow. Best intro I've ever had.
Baby.
I love it.
Love that. Hey, Jason, how you doing, buddy?
I'm very good. Yeah.
Mate, thank you for joining us
Nice
on the
to be here.
sofa.
Great to see you, Jason. How was your paddle game today?
You did all right, yeah. Straight 1-1. Just the hour's always hard, isn't it, to fit in a proper game. Felt like momentum was on our side. Lost the first set, won the second. And,
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? With the 60 minutes,
You're just getting into it.
Did Golden Point or is it?
Yeah, golden point, just so you're not playing full juice. But it's also I don't think I've ever won a first set in my life. I don't know what it is. I just fall asleep or drop off. And then,
Yeah.
and then I wake up.
By the way, we're in a league. We've not actually played
You
yet.
guys play a lot together, don't you?
Yeah.
So tell me, Nick, because you're an expert in paddle. I've not really seen much of Jason. What's his game like? What's he like?
He's a really pure paddle player, and he plays in the right way, and he is patient. He's very good on his lobs, and I think he's got this very good as well drop shot.
Okay.
Very deceiving.
Okay.
And I've been on the other side,
A killer drop shot.
It's a killer drop shot. Would you agree, Jason?
Yeah, it's a good drop shot if you're playing people of our age
Right.
who can't get to it. Suddenly you play a 23-year-old and you're like, oh, the drop shot's not working.
They're returning those.
Yeah, because they're getting there and lobbing it from the net. So yeah, it depends who you're playing against, but I just love it.
Have you had coaching or anything, or?
I've been at the paddle club. I've done maybe 3 or 4 lessons with him, but I played a lot of tennis. I was very lucky, really, because when I was a kid, I lived in Whalley Range in South Manchester, and there was Whalley Range Cricket and Tennis Club there, and we were on the council estate next door. So obviously we weren't really. Tennis is not really aimed at, even now, it's a bit of an elitist sport, isn't it? It can be seen as a bit of a posh sport. So we used to break in, mess around,
Fair play.
with like 7 or 8, 9, like little scroats, just breaking glasses and breaking windows and, just being little.
Just doing what,
just doing what naughty kids do, and the fences used to go higher and the barbed wire and the cameras and we were...
The challenge got bigger.
Yeah, it did. It stopped, and it didn't stop you. I mean, I've got to say, I was never one of the leaders of it. So I was a bit of a follower,
Yeah.
But that's what the kids used to do on our estate. And I think this is genius, actually, and a really good way of dealing with things like this, and probably something that the wider world, if not just the country, can think about. One day, we got a little note through our letterbox all on the street saying free tennis lessons for kids.
Oh, wow.
At the local tennis club, and we were like, "What's this? Sunday mornings, free tennis lessons." We're like, "Is it a trap?"
Yeah, what's the catch?
They're trying to catch us. Anyway, we went down on a Sunday morning, 8 till 10 or whatever, early, and there was a guy there who was one of on the board, and he was a teacher, I think, PE teacher, and he gave us all free tennis lessons. We were like 9, 10, 11, 12, and you know what? Overnight, their problem stopped because now it was our tennis club. And so it became, the place that we were proud of and we wanted to, and now you drive past it, there's no big high fences and there's no...
Well, that's good.
So it's a good... So that's how I got into tennis. I was about 9 or 10, really. So I played tennis for a long time, and then rotator cuff and various other injuries, and then paddle came along and I just thought, this is the one.
This is the one.
Can you remember your first game, Jason?
Of tennis?
No, paddle.
Oh, paddle. Yeah, can actually. It was at the paddle club, Wimslow. Like, actual competitive game. I played in Portugal once, just as I did some bit of coaching there, when it first started, and just me and the kids having a knockabout. But first actual game was, it was Chowie. Chowie and Rod.
Yeah, Rod Thornley.
Rod Thornley, physio.
Yeah.
I know Rod.
And it was good. I got battered, absolutely battered, because I was playing tennis. You're playing tennis on a little court, but it was great. But I just love it. I mean, I don't actually play tennis anymore. I just play paddle.
Really?
I'm just wondering where the addiction got you, because it was a very cold February morning when I was first introduced to the game of paddle in February 2022.
Okay.
And it was Huddersfield that was the closest
Right, yeah,
paddle
that's right,
court
was,
to
yeah.
us. Obviously, this is months before the paddle club in Wimslow was open.
Okay.
And Vorney, a guy called Nick and Dan, we popped over there, and I was like, what were you driving up the M62 for? This better be sport.
So
And
were the plans underway for paddle court Wimslow then?
Yeah, there were. But
It's addictive though, isn't it?
yeah, and once I'd played once, it was just
Well,
like...
funny story. So last week I'm in Hampshire, Surrey area. I stay at. I go watch John Bishop do his show.
Yeah.
And I go and stay at his house afterwards, and he's got a tennis court in his garden, and we usually have a game of tennis. So I said there'll be a local paddle club somewhere. Anyway, there's hardly any down there. We're really in the northwest. We are so
Lucky.
spoiled. Anywhere I go on tour, you can't find them. Anyway, I find this this paddle court in about 15 minutes from his house, and we go and play. And he's never played before, you know. And there's only two of us as well, so we're having to sort of make a game of it. 'Cause obviously it's very hard to play with just two. He's just having a knock, really. But we love it, and I sort of put him through his paces, and we have a little bit of fun with it. I get back to his house, I go and get showered and sort myself out. And when I come downstairs, I say to his wife, I said, where's John? She said, oh, he's in the garden. And I go out into the garden, and he's pacing alongside his tennis court. I said, you all right, mate? He went, do you think I could fit a paddle court in here?
Wow, that's how addictive it is. He's on
He
it.
played one time, and not even a proper game. I think he would fit about here.
So next time you go, you play on his court. Love that.
So that's how addictive it is.
That's class. And there's loads that we want to speak to you about regarding paddle, isn't there? Because, I know that you're doing a lot, but I think we might come to that a little bit
whatever you
later.
want. I'm happy to chat about it.
Yeah. No, I do remember just on that, and then we'll move on, because I know you want to ask a question, but we were in a tournament. We try where possible to partner as much as possible. And there's loads of tournaments flying around or invitations. And so just halfway through the tournament, we had a slight break. And I said, where's Jason gone? Where's partner gone? He said, and the girl at the paddle club, I think Pam said, oh, he's gone. He's speaking to Mayor Burnham. I was like, oh, as you do. So this is it. Yeah, about paddle. Anyway, we'll come on to that.
I like that. Oh, that's a good little tease, that actually. I'm really intrigued to
find
find
out. People go to the
out.
loo, but he went to speak on a Teams call with Mayor Burnham. He's a big hitter. Big dog.
Big time. Love that. No, so when we get people on the sofa, we like to kind of... One of my things is identity when it comes to how you identify yourself. And, Nick's introduction says a lot. Multifaceted. When I introduce myself to people, it's like, am I going in with chocolatier, or is it, I do a bit of presenting work? Is it that? I like to tell the story that I want people to hear and believe in me for certain things. We spoke to John Wilkin about that when we talked about rugby and business. So yourself, obviously, comedian, would that be your go-to answer if somebody didn't know you, which would be unlikely? But
I feel like I've probably gone like full circle on that, and I feel like it's important not to let what you do as a job define you as a person.
Yeah.
Because as much as our jobs are so integral to our lives, at any point our job, our work can be taken away from us. It's not hard and fast.
True.
And, anything can happen. You can go out of business. I could tell the wrong joke, or they could find a joke from 20 years ago that I told that's now not allowed to be told, or whatever it is.
Cancel.
Yeah. And so, I think if you put so much weight of who you are as a person into that, I think that's like building a house on sand,
Okay.
And so I think it's, I think that's important. So I think who you are, you've got to find who you are, irrespective of job, people. You've got to be you, and that's including being a dad, being a husband, being a son.
Yeah.
You've got to find who you are. So, so for me, I just, I'm Jason, and I enjoy about 70% of my life.
Okay.
And I think that's good odds.
That's good.
And that's not just the paddle, is it? 70% of the time.
That's about 40%. And I wake up every day, and I try and make people smile.
It's a good point. We all have to do things that we don't want to do, and I'm assuming in that 30% you might be doing, I don't know, for me it will be things like accounts, admin, stuff that I don't really want to be doing.
But also you like your actual job sometimes. I mean, you work with chocolate.
You don't always
work
love
in
it.
Furniture. I've got, I say to my kids, like when they got back from half term Monday morning, cold November morning, I'm like, right, come on, let's get into school. I don't want to, tears, there's all sorts.
Yeah.
I go, I know, but you got to. I said, I've got the best job in the world. Literally go on stage and I make people laugh. And we have a great time. I work 2 hours a night, and I get paid well, and it's a lovely, fun job, and there's no losers because everyone's happy. The venue are happy, the audience is happy, I'm happy, my manager's happy, everyone's happy. And yet even I go, oh God, I can't be bothered today.
Yeah, you have those days.
Of course, because you're a human being.
Yeah.
You're a human being. So,
that.
But to answer your question without being so deep about who we are.
No, I want to go deep, if that's all right.
I would say, I like to say, I say entertainer now rather than just comedian because of the musicals, because of writing and presenting and hosting stuff. But if someone's held a gun to my head and said you could only do one thing for the rest of your life, then padel? No, I'd say
I'd be there.
I'd say comedian. Yeah,
that's your passion. Interesting when you were saying about finding yourself and knowing who you are, and I think that's quite a big thing for me. I've turned 40 this year, and I feel comfortable in my own skin. I feel like I know myself.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that helps me get my head around aging, because sometimes time and aging does my head in a bit.
40, I was just talking to my mate Ryan this morning, who I was playing paddle with, and he was 41 the other day, and he said, "It's a nothing birthday, is it 41?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I was fine at turning 30, no problem. Turning 20, turning 40, I had an existential crisis for a good few weeks and it was because of something my dad said. My dad's in his 70s now, and he said he went, "There you are, halfway."
Yeah, it's not what you want.
He went, well, if you on average, we get to 80, you're halfway, aren't you? I thought, blooming heck, what a thing to say. And then at the same time, I watched the Elvis film. And
I love that.
Died at 42, was it?
Yeah,
so young.
And I was 40, I was the same age when I watched this film. And I remember there's a moment in the film where he's sat in the back of the car just before he gets on this private jet. Yeah. It's the last time his wife ever sees him, when somebody says something that you've been thinking about yourself, but you've never really been able to put into words.
Yeah.
And he said, and this is going to sound stupid when you list all those things that I have done and with my life and do.
We're all human.
And Elvis turns to his wife and he goes, "I just don't know what I've done with my life."
Wow. Even
Elvis said it.
And
I sat there and I was, it's an emotional film, and I burst into tears because I was in the moment anyway. And afterwards, I was with my uncle. And I said, just when he said that about not knowing what he's done with his life, I said, I feel like that sometimes about my life, and he's Elvis.
Yeah.
So if Elvis can think that,
is that a bit like where's the time gone? Because you can't say
a little bit, yeah.
But we always want more, don't we? We always want to do more.
Well, it's the one thing they're not making any more of, and so what you realise, I think, is working and earning money and doing all those things. You can buy things, lovely sofas from Arighi Bianchi, and you can do all that if you want.
Thank you.
And cars and all, but actually, the only thing that is precious is time. And money is the only thing that I've found is that can just buy you time.
Yeah.
And there's moments now where I look back and think, oh God, I was doing things for money there, or I was doing things for fame, or for for those things, and even like with my children, there's some terrifying statistics when you think of kids. Someone said to me once, you get 16 summers.
Yeah.
Oh, destroyed me.
Yeah.
He said, by the time, I use this quote in my set, by the time your child is 12, you've spent 75% of all the time you will ever spend with them.
Yeah, I hate little stuff that make me feel sick.
Well, it's a good leveler though.
But it is a good leveler.
It is. It makes you
even just hearing that, it's like I need to be more present. I mean, one of the things Chuck and I talk a lot in our research for our interview with you, with all the things I've just listed, and there's other things, just like you do that I've not mentioned, is how we think we're really busy. We've got busy lives, and sometimes we like to shout about that. A big thing on our podcast, Jason, is you can't add days to your life, but you can add life to your days. And we're Detox Wirral next to where you're performing tonight in New Brighton and in the high seas with Vorney at 7 a.m. and then playing paddle and coming to work, and so but. What you do and how you juggle it, and we started deliberately as you're a family man. You're a great dad. I've seen you because we see a lot of yourself, even just away from the paddle and pro football, and we're chatting, and you're looking at Elliot playing football. You're such a dedicated family man. How in heaven's name do you juggle all the stuff you do?
I guess you just have to find a rhythm, I suppose, and find what you're happy with. And there was certainly times in the past that I was too focused on work and I guess when you've come from that background where you've had nothing, and then suddenly somebody, you know, you work hard and you end up with something, you never want nothing again. And so
You constantly got that mindset of
yeah,
hard work.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you just don't want to ever be back there, I suppose,
No.
in that respect. And also you don't want your kids to have that same struggle that you had as well. And you want to give them a better start, I guess, a better start in life than they had. But then, you know, at the same time, you know, that's probably what cost me my first marriage, and you know,
Right.
and there's definitely times where I look back at my older kids now who are sort of 14 and 15, and you know, look back at moments where I was there but I wasn't present. You know, I was thinking of other things, my mind was on other things, and or I was rushing off to go and do something, or cramming something in, and thankfully I learned that lesson, you know, a good sort of 10 years ago, before it was too late, you know, while I still had time to fix it with. And to now, you know, I actually probably say no to more things than I say yes to. And I just, to be honest, this sounds quite, not callous, but I guess this is one of those things that I say to anybody who asks me for advice, which is, there's two things that I will do. You know, if a job comes in, either it's a ridiculous amount of money, and how could you say no to that? That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Or it's something that I'm so love to do and passionate about that of course I'll do it. You know,
Yeah.
and that's often how I end up doing plays or musicals and stuff like that, because they don't. You know, often I break even on a few of those, you know, but I love doing it, and it's something I'm really passionate about. Ideally, those two things together would be
Definitely.
that'd be amazing. But so I try and just, you know, in that respect, I just try and look at those two things, and I think, right, if I do this job here, you know, I did a gig last night, you know, in Birmingham, it paid X amount of money, and so I know that I've got a holiday, you know, that I'm sort of thinking about February with the kids. Brilliant. And actually, if I can do maybe another one of these gigs, I can bring mum and dad, you know, and
Nice.
that can include that. I know that it doesn't necessarily work like that, but it just means those things add up, and that, like I said, what I've done, what I feel like I did last night at that gig is I bought myself time in February with the kids and my mum and dad. And that's what last night was for.
Brilliant.
That's a really good way
That's
to
how I
look
try
at it.
and think of it.
I just want to remind you, we might have a cheeky couple of days paddle trip as well in January.
Let's try that. Let's try
Don't
that.
forget January, Mr. Manford.
To be honest, that my wife's actually encouraging that at the moment.
Good.
Love
She's
that.
into that.
We
yeah.
like that. We like that.
When you're talking then about kind of coming from nothing and that being a bit of a motivator in some ways, is that something that you look back and feel grateful for, almost like it was in a weird way an advantage? And because I just wanted to kind of touch on that, and also your success, because you know you've been and you are incredibly successful in everything that you do, and I wondered whether that was something. Is it just from hard work, or did you have a vision for those things? Like, did you ever write down, or like, I want to be a comedian on stage and play big gigs?
I don't think so. I always wanted to be an actor or a singer, or you know, I never really thought of comedy. It wasn't really a tangible job, you know.
Right.
It was just something that other people did. You know?
Yeah.
And it's only when you see it close up that you think, oh, maybe I could do that, you know. Yeah. So no, I don't think it was. You know, my background certainly wasn't a. Obviously, parts of it are a hindrance. You know, doors aren't opening for you that might open for somebody who was born into money or went to private school, or you know, that sort of stuff. And even now, you know, when I look around my business, you know, there's only a certain amount of people who've broke Hollywood, for example. Not that that's in my sort of plan, but you know, you look at the British actors who broke Hollywood. A lot of them have come from, you know, private school, or mum and dad were already in the business, or you know, whatever. Right. So you know, there's still quite a lot of that,
like a bit of an elitist thing going on.
Yes, I think so, and it becomes, you know, it's a much deeper chat as well. Of you know, I was very lucky to do stand up at a time where there was still DVDs, so there was DVD companies investing in new talent, because you know, and so they would pick new comics, give a bit of dosh to, and then you could go full time, and you could go to the Edinburgh Festival. Now Edinburgh Festival, you know, how anyone with a job or kids or you no money is going up there. So and it is a problem because it means that the people who are going to start making it in comedy are people who've maybe come from a bit of a privileged background or have got a bit of spare money. Where we're hearing from people with now, you know what I mean? Where Peter Kay wouldn't make it now,
right?
Because he wouldn't have got the chance to go to Edinburgh and done those things. Talent rises, but I'm using that as an example. So whilst there was a hindrance to it, I think there's also a positive because the drive that it gives you. And my parents had a real strong work ethic, and my dad worked 3 jobs. He'd just literally come back, have a kit for 2 hours, and go back and do his next job. And crazy, So. I think I'm really grateful for that, and also grateful for just. I always say I come from an underprivileged background. I found out later. Because at the time
it was normal. I
was just life, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You're hiding behind the couch while the bailiff's knocking at the door, and you know what I mean.
That's
Like it was just one of those things. There's a new person sleeping on the couch because they've been kicked out of their rented accommodation or whatever, and so. It was just our life, really. But what we had was laughs.
But those experiences have given you stories as well, haven't they?
Totally. So my book is, when I wrote my book 10 years ago, it's full of stories about the family, and people read it and go, I can't believe this happened. And even now in my stand-up, I'm telling stories. I say a bit on stage about when you go to tell a story to your kids now in 2024 that you think's a humorous story from your childhood, and they're looking at you like, how did nobody take you away? Like, our social services not involved here. You're going, this is a funny story.
Different
like,
world.
no, it's not. It's horrendous. How did that happen?
It is all about storytelling, though, isn't it? It's what connects people, isn't it? It's what people relate to and things like that. And when it comes to stand-up, storytelling is obviously a big part of that for you. Did you, when you first did stand-up comedy, did you ever have it was there special training in that? And the reason why I was asking is, I think I remember Jimmy Carr talking about stand-up comedy and how everyone should be trained in stand-up comedy because it gives you skills and it gives you life skills and confidence and stuff like that.
Well, do you know what? He's right, Jimmy, and I've said the same thing, and I have actually been into schools and worked with a couple of drama teachers and stuff, and there is a world where for a term, drama at school. I mean, drama's been pushed out, by previous governments and stuff. Hopefully, it's going to come back now. And back properly.
Drama's not included in the.
It's not included in every syllabus on every school yet. It was, it was an option obviously that you can drop, later on. Yeah. But they're not investing in it.
Wow, that's mad.
And so one of the things that hopefully this new government are going to do is put that back into schools because the confidence that does give you is amazing. But I also think at least one term of drama should be stand-up comedy.
Right, that would be so good.
Because not only does it give you the confidence of speaking in front of people, microphone skills, which you're going to use at some point, you're going to have to hold a microphone, whether it's at a wedding or a a conference,
presentation,
or work. Being able to talk in front of people, knowing what you're saying, having the confidence to what people worry about when they're talking in public is people
judging them
and second guessing them and working out, but actually working out that only you know what you're going to say, so they don't know what you're going to say unless you're doing Hamlet. They don't know what you're going to say.
You can't be wrong.
Can't be wrong. That's I based a career on it.
It's not like you're getting the lyrics to a song wrong, is it?
Exactly.
You're in control.
But I just said, and just slightly, then we were talking last Friday about his forthcoming pantomime at the Opera House or Cinderella, and he absolutely, you talk about you do something you genuinely love, that you can see in Jason's eyes, Ollie, like he's really looking forward to it, and it actually, dare I say, gives you some structure because your matinees, you're this, and you're going to try and get a cheeky game of paddle in between the evening. We were just chatting about that, but actually I just said Jason can go off script. He doesn't need, many times ad lib. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that where the fun is for you?
That's great fun. Yeah.
That's
and if
fun.
it's really funny, it becomes script.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what happens,
because you get the laughs and that's got to work. So
pop that in. Yeah, absolutely. But I think also what stand-up would give kids at school is that sense of who they are and story and what you do when you're a comedian is you're always looking at what's in here and what's in here to offer opinions, find funny angles on things. Rather than look at the thing straight ahead of you, looking at it from this side on. A bit of a random sort of example, but if you ever watch Celebrity Catchphrase, and they have a different celebrities on, if there's a comedian on it, that comic will win that show every single time, because everyone else is looking at what Mr. Chips is doing and trying to work out, but a comic is always looking at this angle all the time. So
looking at it from different perspectives.
Yeah, so that's what we always do well on those sort of shows, because we're always thinking that way instead of that way, which is that's why weirdly that game just fits right into our remit of all things.
Wow, that's cool.
So I think there's something in that sort of confidence to, you know, I don't know what schools you went to and stuff, but I do notice a difference in people who went to private school who went to a regular school, and it's when they walk into a room, there's a sense of they belong there, they deserve to be there, when they've sort of had it drilled into them a little bit at private
pride
school.
And confidence.
Yeah, whereas when you come from a state school, you do sort of come in a little bit like, oh, am I supposed to be here? You know, and that tipping point, you know, could be found in drama and could be found in performance.
I always think confidence is such a big, I'm so passionate about it. Even what I do with kids with chocolate parties, I get them, I'm engaging with them, getting like them up to the front, chocolate moustaches on the faces, and getting them to, parents have said to me like, my son, he's very quiet, he keeps himself to himself, but you really brought him out of himself and stuff. So for me, that's like, feels like my why almost, because for kids, I think because confidence can get bad. Negativity, you know, it's not about ego or being the best at something. It's kind of, it's just for kids to have that.
Confidence is massive, and something like stand up at schools would give kids not only confidence, not only the ability to find humour in different areas, but also, and this is massive, especially with youngsters and a lot of adults, the ability to laugh at yourself.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, not take yourself too seriously.
If you can laugh at yourself, and you will have such a happier life than if you take everything like
so
heart.
true.
You know what I mean? So it's massive.
It really is, isn't it? It's fascinating, Jason. Just like, what would be a perfect day in the life of Jason? It might not be in the UK. It could be just waking up in the sun, Portugal,
or
it'd be
nice to be away, wouldn't it?
Because you do so many things. I've just done a thing like the acting, which I mentioned, you know, Waterloo Road, and you know the DJing on the, you know, Absolute Radio. What would be? I know padel's definitely in there.
Padel's in there,
100%. I'd be in the four.
You'd be there, mate. You'd be straight there.
Best over state. You got to look after Charlie Larners.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the loyalists.
Yeah.
But like I said, you know, you're going tonight to kick off a Manford for all, you know, a Manford for seasons like tonight, isn't it? Starting.
That's right, yeah.
So that would be in your 2-hour gig.
I think if I was having a perfect day, I'd have a day off. If I was honest.
I love that. I saw your video. You're talking about the best thing about tours is the lions without question.
Gosh. I love that. I love his video. Look at Jason Manford's Instagram. Brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, because you know people often say to you, they go, "Oh, how do you do it?" When they look at these 300 dates and you're touring until next November, and they go, "How do you do that?" And I think, well, how do you do 9 to 5, Monday to Friday? I don't know how you do that. Yeah. You know, so we all find what suits us. But yeah, I think for me, I'd pick a school day, so I had a few hours off by myself in the middle of the day. Those few hours to have a game of padel and maybe go for some lunch, you know, with my wife, or see my friend Dave and play a bit of padel with you. And,
great guy.
You know, we'd have a lovely time, and then probably pick the kids up. And then we're just simple, really. We like a little trip to Red Rock, a bit of bowling in Stockport, or a bit of cinema, or a bit of that new Australian golf thing that I told you about the other day at Adlington.
Absolutely.
The mini golf thing, that's great. So we always try and do quite a lot of activities when I'm with the kids. We do get out and, you know, hit a few golf balls or play a bit of paddle.
Which is what we talk about being present. And you know, I remember just quickly before we go to the halftime break, it was I think COVID helped me. I was running, you know, we talk about the paddle, you know, me and you, and we could delve into uncharted territories, but at that time I was doing too much and I wasn't around, you know, and it came at a fortuitous moment. COVID was horrible for many people, but it was a real wake-up call for me.
I think it was for a lot of people, the same thing,
Anyway, on that note, a bit of a halftime break with our commercial partner. Thank you.
This episode of Soper Stories is brought to you by Mynurva. MYNURVA is a leading provider of one-to-one therapy delivered by highly qualified therapists. Mynurva is proud to support the mental health of many individuals, as well as working with universities, corporations and football clubs such as Blackburn Rovers. Nick and I speak often about our own challenges with mental health on and off the sofa, and we realise the importance of opening up, and possibly you can relate to that. If you are struggling emotionally, going through a difficult life event, or experiencing symptoms of depression and anxiety, Minerva can help. Minerva offers a safe, confidential space to talk through your concerns and help you to get the support you need. There are no waiting lists and therapy can be accessed immediately. Minerva is offering all Sofa Stories listeners and viewers 10% off therapy sessions. Simply visit www.mynurva.com/Sofa Stories to book online and enter the code SOFASTORIES10 to redeem your discount. But for now, it's back to the sofa. Enjoy the rest of the show. And we're back for part 2. It's the second set of this podcast with Jason Manford. Really excited about this pod, loving it, guys. We talked a lot about padel already, but there is something that I think we'd love to touch on. We talked about the phone call with Andy Burnham, but I know that you're really passionate about making padel more inclusive, particularly for kids.
Yeah.
Is it more from the underprivileged areas?
Well, a little bit, yeah. I mean, that's where I sort of started because, as I said, I mean, if I'd not had that moment, you know, with that guy who'd sort of had a genius idea to include us in tennis, I don't think I would have ever picked a racket up. It would never, or I would have picked it up far too late to have got, you know, made it a fun hobby.
Right.
Tennis is so hard. I mean, it's so, you know, paddle is easy. You know,
Right.
you can pick up after an hour. You can play paddle.
Do you think that's why it's so addictive?
I think so, yeah, because even if you, I can't do, I've got no hand-eye coordination, but you can
Right.
play paddle. If you've played on the beach, you know, between you and somebody else, you can play paddle, and you'll get better at it. The problem with tennis is the serve is the hardest shot, and that's how you start.
Yeah,
so this is
so
the
true.
hardest shot you have to learn, and that's how you start the game.
Yeah.
And so we get rid of that in paddle because obviously it's underarm.
Yeah.
So I do think the danger that paddle is under at the moment is that it is already slipping into being an elitist sport.
Right.
We are the most expensive in Europe to book a court, and we've got the least amount. Obviously, that's how business works. You know, there isn't enough courts to bring that price down, and it will at some point. That will happen. And so I have been chatting with the LTA and Andy Burnham's office, just trying to see what starting here in Greater Manchester, if there's a way of getting paddle into schools, into kids from underprivileged backgrounds, ethnic minorities, you know, to see if there's a way of spreading that, putting that racket into kids' hands, because you know, there's just been the World Youth Championships and Britain did not enter a team. There wasn't 2 kids good enough.
Wow, that's crazy.
To send to the championships because they just thought there's no point. They're not going to do anything for their confidence to get beat 6-love.
Definitely.
So. And that just made me think, well, hang on, we're already, you know, I've heard talk about paddle being in the Olympics in 2032 in Brisbane. So actually, we're at a point in 2024 where there's a good chance that adult who goes to play in Brisbane in 2032 has not even played paddle yet.
That's incredible.
That's so far in advance. In
So true.
Two Olympics time. So how brilliant would it be?
That gives me goosebumps. That's amazing.
Yeah, if we find those kids who do end up being those late teens, early 20s people who head over to represent Team GB.
Love it.
And the problem is at the moment, my kids play paddle. Nick, your kids play paddle.
Yeah.
Our kids are privileged. Our kids have a nice life, you know, and so of course they play paddle because you know their parents play paddle and that's how they do it. I was looking at schools. You know, I went to see a school and chatted to 700 kids in an assembly. Who's heard of paddle tennis? None.
Wow. And the schools are up for it, aren't they? Because you put a thing out and lots of thousands of them emailed asking.
Yeah, so I put a post out just to see if anyone would be interested in trying to build paddle courts in schools. And so the idea would be that you would build 3 paddle courts, ideally, in the corner of a school field or yard, a bit that they're not using. You know, we know what school fields are like. They're either rock hard or muddy. There's nothing, you can't use them anyway, you know.
Yeah.
So say, look, give us this space, and that's what I've been chatting to the Mayor's office about. We'll build 3 courts. You can use them all day for PE.
Yeah.
Other local schools can use it as well. The one I've been chatting to in Fallowfield's a high school over the road. 1,500 kids between those two schools could then have access to padel. You've got 12 kids who can be playing at any one time. So in a PE lesson over an hour and 20 minutes, that's the full class can play
Brilliant.
padel. And then what you would do is at the end of the day, that could then be rented out to using Playtomic to the local area to anybody who wants to go and play it. But and what that would then do is you would be able to subsidise the kids. So what I would love to do, because if they only play it in PE, then you failed.
Right.
What they need to do is then want to play it again. And so what you're saying to these kids is, this is your paddle tennis club. You all 1,500 kids who used it from the high school and the primary school, you are members of this club.
Nice.
And because you're a member, you get to book the courts for £2.50, £3 or something affordable that you can play. We've got bats. You know, I've been speaking to Bab a lot. We've been speaking to Castor.
Oh, wow.
Well, you're a Castor ambassador, so I assume you've had debriefs with them.
Spoken with Castor. Wilson, who were fantastic. Joe at Wilson,
Nice.
who's just said, let us know as soon as you get it up and running. We've got
So
bats.
it's happening.
It's happening. So I think we're going to start and get I say I got 2,500 emails from
Well, I know our headmaster,
your headmaster,
Mr. Brady, lovely guy. He was straight on it, you know. I mean, like I said, but I did say to Mr. Brady, I said, you know, Jason has been receiving like hundreds and hundreds, thousands of you.
Thousands, yeah. So it's exciting, and I think, you know, it'd be a great thing to roll out. You know, I'd love to be able to hit the country and you know, and then get to a point where you're playing inter-school competitions.
Of course, and then knock-on effect and the Olympics and
massive. And you know, and again, speaking to the guys at the Paddle Club, Ben, speaking to Sammy at Pure Paddle in Manchester. You know, he's already offered being able to let the kids go and use the indoor courts in Manchester.
Nice.
Trying to find those kids who are gonna one day represent.
It's almost like you're going to be the Simon Cowell of paddle. Finding the kids, you know what I mean? Talent.
Did you ever think that, Jason? You'd be Simon Cowell?
I never thought that. No.
Paddle X Factor. Come on.
If I could find, if at any, I mean, it doesn't even need to be Team GB. If at some point somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, do you know what? I only got into paddle because I saw your thing." You know, in fact, you know, a few people have said it already. In fact, one of the things the LTA said, and he sort of, you know, when someone says something as a compliment, but you're like, that's not the compliment you think it is. He said to me, "We've got a lot of ex-pros and ex-sports stars playing paddle, but when David Beckham or even Michael Vaughan or you know, Paul Scholes, whatever, plays paddle, Messi and that, it doesn't inspire regular people to go, because they go, well, they're sports stars, of course they're going to play a sports game." He says, but when you play it, Jace, when you play it, people think, well, if he can play it, so can I. If this overweight dad of 6 with a busy schedule can play this game, then I reckon I'd be half decent as well. And I get it a lot.
Genius.
People message me and go, you know, I got into it because of you, you know.
It's bittersweet.
Yes, exactly. So I think, there's definitely something in that, and I do take the compliment.
No, yeah, and you should, and it's a real legacy. And I've said before, you've got a real sincere commitment, and there's a real authenticity. So bravo to you, Jason. I mean, sticking on sport as well. Let's not spare. We are in the midst, in the company, Compton. You know, we're in the midst of this greatness. Soccer Aid. We want to talk about this.
Soccer Aid.
Talk about Soccer Aid. Go to Soccer Aid.
I love Soccer Aid. I mean, I try and get involved every year, and it's sort of it's one of those win-win situations where you're having a great time. It's for a brilliant cause. The crowd love it. You know, there's no negative.
Everyone wants everyone to do well.
Absolutely.
So for the purpose of the listeners, those who don't know Soccer Aid, it's done once a year, and it's normally, Old Trafford, but I think it's been played in other places, Stamford Bridge in the past.
Yeah, all over.
It goes, the principal charity is UNICEF,
Yeah.
and it's linked, the principal broadcaster is ITV, is that right? So that's it. So it's done just in case anyone didn't know what Soccer Aid is.
Yeah, and it's a big game where, so you get ex-pros, legends, and a load of celebrities and YouTubers and comedians and whatever, and it's great fun. I'm not very good at football, so I just enjoy just being part of it,
Yeah.
playing with these absolute. What's funny is how quickly you get into it. Like, even though I'm not good at football, like, when you first get there, you meet somebody like, Alessandro Del Piero. We played this year.
Wow.
Superstar, legend, Italia,
Wow.
Huge stuff.
I mean, to a point where I went into Piccolino's the week after, and they didn't charge me for my bill because I touched Alessandro Del Piero.
That's
They were like,
amazing.
free food for you, free food. Yeah,
You
no
touched
problem.
him.
Free food for you, mate. No problem. I got him a little. I got him because one of the waiters there is a big fan, and I got him a video of Del Piero just speaking to him in Italian, and so he was cried. He cried. I mean,
Wow.
obviously we know Italians are emotional people.
Passionate. Yeah.
But he was. So. It's what's funny is just how quickly you get into it. So when you meet them, you're like, "Oh, Mr. Del Piero, what an honour! Such an honour to meet you. I watched you as a kid, and thank you, And then 10 minutes into the game, Alex, I was free then. I would put it through. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on here? I'm not talking to Del Piero like this. So yeah, you get proper stuck into it, and I mean, this year was funny because, and I sort of talk about this in my new tour, because I was the last sub because, like I said, I'm not very good. I'm not going to turn a game. and I got to the 83rd minute. I thought, I'm not going to get on here. And then Usain Bolt got injured.
Right.
And I got subbed on for Usain Bolt, which is not a like-for-like swap, is it? Do you know what I mean? Fastest man in the world compared to one of the slowest. And I went on for Usain Bolt. I thought, bloody hell, this is... I say myself, I say it's like Tesco coming and saying, sorry, we've got no Pringles, here's some Tampax. Like, it's a terrible substitution.
No, I think you're being self-deprecating.
The only way I can relate to that is Friday night at the Firework and Music Festival. I went on the stage to do 15 minutes throwing out chocolate and entertain. Did you see me on the stage? No, that's crazy.
Wow.
But I came on after some like fire-breathing contortionist, and I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? Yeah.
No, it was good though. You did very well.
The pressure's good. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
Well, that's high praise.
It is high
It was
praise.
great.
But I think what you do, you'd bring that energy, positivity in the dressing room. Funny enough, I've just come off watching a really good Netflix series. I'm not massively into I'm not really into baseball, but I love any sports doco films. And it's a really, really good one. It's about the Boston Red Sox.
I saw that. Yeah.
You did. But you are Millar. Do you remember him in there? I think the Texan, but he was just like, he brought that energy.
I was just thinking about Jason, you just get stuck in, and you use those words about Soccer Aid. Everything you do, I feel like you just get stuck in.
Yeah, to be honest, what I try not to... Soccer Aid is the only thing I would say that I do that I'm not good... Like, I don't think I'm good at.
But you're still getting stuck in, though, aren't
But
you?
I still get stuck in. But everything else, I always try and think, right, I'm good at that. I can do that.
Right.
I'll be fine. Soccer Aid is the thing. But the thing with Soccer Aid is you're not there for your football skills. Like, they've got actual footballers.
Yeah.
What you're there for is to get the word out, to get people to watch.
Right. Yeah.
And actually, there is sort of no fun. Not no fun, but there's less fun in seeing Del Piero, whoever it would be, John Mikel, whoever, professional
John
footballer.
Terry has played
John
in the
Terry,
past, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville.
There's less fun in seeing those guys, even though they're retired, being good at football or scoring a goal or whatever. Robbie Keane smashing one in from outside the area. Yeah, it's good, but we've seen him do that lots of time.
Right.
Watching Lee Mack get a last-minute winner, that's what Soccer Aid is about.
Yeah.
Having somebody, Sam Thompson do a slide tackle and slide tackle Yap Stam, that is what Soccer Aid is about. It's seeing an underdog, somebody who you're not expecting to see do something. That's what's special about it, and that's why it raises so much money for UNICEF. And
brilliant. I mean, we talked about your charity. What a great charity fundraiser you are. In terms of, obviously, we talk a lot in this podcast about health, lifestyle, wellness. Not an episode goes past. We talk about ice baths and stuff.
Yeah.
What other than paddle? Obviously, the Soccer Aid, which is a one thing. Fitness is important. I know Claire's
I'm trying my best.
Yeah.
Constantly.
But it must be really just recap. A Manford or All Seasons tour kicking off tonight. Just give the listener, the viewer, like, how many gigs is that over the next 12 months?
So that's around, we're about to release in the middle of this month a load more dates next year. So I probably hit about 300, I think.
Okay.
When I include, but I do a big work in progress tour. Probably do 60 dates, just practicing, just getting the warm ups. My work in progress tour is often bigger than most people's actual tour. because I just want it to be right. You know, I want it to be the best it can be. You know, people obviously they bought tickets, which is already a lot of money. You know, 30, 35 quid or whatever, it's 40 quid. Then you've got taxis and babysitters and meals and drinks, and you know, maybe you've taken an afternoon off work or you're having the next day. You know, it's hundreds of pounds actually when you think about what people invest in coming to see you. But again, as we said before, it's not just about the money; it's about the time. That's the most important thing. And there's nothing worse than wasting someone's time.
Yeah,
it's one of the most disrespectful things you can do to somebody else. And so I would not want to waste. I don't want to waste your money, but I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
And so I need them to have a great night.
So you're putting all that practice in, basically the repetition. And I speak about that often, repetition. It's the same with padel.
Yeah.
And I'm sure with comedy, the more you repeat, you get every time you tell that joke, you get better at telling it.
And you make mistakes and you fix them, and you've got to dare to fail.
Yeah.
In comedy, because you know if you stay safe, it's not gonna be funny. You know, you're not gonna get there. And also the only way you can become fluid and be able to go off piste and have a laugh with somebody in the room or make something up and just have a bit of fun with it is to get the basics right. If you've got the show solid, you always know on a tough night, on a rainy night in Stoke, you're gonna be able to fall back on
come back to that
what you've got. And the amount of times I come off stage and I say to Gordon, my tour manager, God, thank God we put the work in last year. Yeah. Thank God we put the work
needed
in,
that
I needed
structure.
that tonight. I had to dig in tonight. You know, it was one of them. It's been a tough day. You know, you know, there's moments where, and sometimes you can sort of be disrespectful to your own industry, your own ability, that you know, and yet, you know, like someone messaged me the other day saying, you know, I was going to come and see you in Derby in a couple of weeks' time. But last time I saw you with my husband. My husband passed away in January, and I just don't think I can, you know. You know, and I sent her a little message just to say, look, if I said there's I'm going to put 2 tickets on the box office in your name. Come with a friend. I don't know your husband. I imagine he would want you to come to the show. I said, and you know, and I'll meet you backstage. And, you know, come and we'll have a little chat before we go out. And it's just up to you if you want to come. They're there for you if you want to come, because comedy and entertaining, you know, like I said, we can be disparaging about it, we can be self-deprecating about it, but it is important, and it is a moment in time that you share with somebody else. Shared laughter is one of the most joyous things you can do.
I really think it is. I think laughter is just an incredible emotion, just to get such a release.
Yeah.
Do you laugh a lot? And if so, do you laugh at your own stuff, like looking back at it and go, enjoy
like
it?
a sociopath, me.
No,
Honestly.
you've got to, though. If you can't laugh at it, how can you expect anyone else to laugh at it?
Before I go, because obviously when you write a new tour, like I have no idea sometimes what I've said before, so I think I've sometimes got to watch some of my old shows to make sure that I'm not doing old stuff, you know what I mean? So I can't always remember.
Right.
And so I remember being on a train once, and I'm literally watching an old like thing of myself that I've not seen it for 6 years.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it and I'm laughing.
That's hilarious.
Because obviously this guy is my favourite comedian because he's me.
Yeah.
And he's saying all the
He's
things
gotta
I
be.
think. I'm like, oh yeah, I think that because it's me.
Yeah,
and I'm on the train and I'm laughing. This woman walked
100%.
past. She goes, "Hi, Jason, coming to see you on tour." I said, "Oh, nice one." And as she walked past, she looks and sees me watching me, and I was a bit like,
Laughing your head off.
yeah, laughing at my own.
Number one fan. You have to be, though.
You have to be your own number one fan.
Yeah.
In any industry, in any job you do, you've got to be your own champion.
Yeah.
And so I watch myself and you know and finesse things and get things better and of course
I think so.
definitely
Yeah, when you watch yourself back and hear yourself back, you can maybe go, actually, you could change that slightly.
And even on stage on the night, even though some of the jokes I've said before and stuff, there's a laughter in. There's joy in the laughter of others and people. Yeah. I just laugh with people, you know, and I'm excited when I'm starting to tell a new routine. I'm excited because I'm thinking, in a minute, you're going to get a little dopamine hit.
And then you're going to get it back.
And then I get it back because you know, and it's just a lovely, reciprocal, fluid night. It's
that
so
feeling must be unbelievable.
It's addictive. It's wonderful.
You messaged me on the Friday night, didn't you? And I was at a dinner in Manchester, and I picked it up on the Uber on the way home, and I could hear your voice. And that was 15 minutes, was it, in Bramhall?
Yeah, and I didn't want to get off the stage. Like Darren Proctor was like, Ollie, 2 minutes. And I was thinking, how am I going to fill 15 minutes? And then Gemma said, we want you for 30 minutes next year. I'm thinking, right, what am I going to do and add to that? But the feeling after.
But how did you come down off that?
To be honest, I was okay. I didn't. Sometimes I feel like for every high there's a low or whatever, but I didn't feel like I kind of got that. How
do you come down off that, Jason?
I don't anymore. I'm saying. I mean, I used to have a real problem. A real like up till 4 o'clock. Or also trying to chase the high. So getting off to a casino,
a few beers,
Sometimes, I mean, I was never a massive drinker, but would go out with with people. Certainly, when I was single, I would would be out on the
But you get high in the casino watching the thing spin.
Yeah, so suddenly you're thinking, what am I doing? And I think maybe parenthood and age and sensibility, it sort of catches up with. I mean, I started stand up at 17, so you make a lot of mistakes. You're sort of trying to chase.
So when you come back from Birmingham, either you're driving yourself or you've got to drive, or you're with your tour manager Gordon, whatever.
Yeah,
you're just quite relaxed. You just
now I can pretty much. Although I'm saying that, I've started this new thing for this tour.
Well, you brought an ice bath with you, I suppose.
Well, no, so I do ice baths. Yeah,
I know you do,
and we have got a mobile.
Okay.
We have got a mobile one actually.
I'm impressed.
Love it.
And I used that when I did Wizard of Oz at the Palladium. I had one in my dressing room. So,
oh wow.
Well, I mean, there was sometimes in that suit. It was over 40 degrees inside that suit. Absolutely sweating. Middle of summer in an old theatre.
Yeah.
So the ice bath was one thing, but no. So I can't remember the guy's name. He's a sleep doctor.
Okay.
So I read a book on sleep and how like people who get an afternoon nap, for example, live longer than people who don't. And if you get your 8 hours and all that stuff, and I'm terrible. Like I go to sleep because I don't know about you, like, but sometimes as a husband or as a dad or as a friend or as a son or whatever, you belong to someone else all day. Emails, phone calls. Can you do this? Can you take that to your nana? And then 11 o'clock at night, and everyone's gone to sleep, and the phone's stopped, and it's your time.
Yeah.
And you don't want to let it go.
This was me last night, actually, funnily enough. Yeah.
You don't want to let that time go. So you watch what you want. You can have a snack. Suddenly it's 1:30, 2 o'clock. And what you're doing is you're stealing time from your future self.
Yeah.
Because the next day you regret it, or
it's like alcohol stealing happiness from your future self, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've been really thinking about sleep a lot. I feel like that is the key. And so my doctor is my GP, Steve Coogan, he's called, funnily enough.
No way.
And it always makes me laugh.
Brilliant.
When you go in for a sore throat, he says, "Say aha!" That's my little gag for Steve Coogan. I'm
sure I love it.
Anyway, he told me, I've not been in touch with this guy. I just read up on him. The football teams have this sleep specialist who the day before an away game, he goes down the day before, goes to the hotel. And every room he sets up, especially because you get something like 60% less or worse sleep in a foreign bed than your own bed.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and what they do is, so they have their own pillow, little spray, they get it to the right temperature, little pictures of the kids, of the family, or whatever it is around a couple of things that feel like home.
Wow.
And it's this guy's job for City, United, because it's all incremental percentages, isn't it? At that stage.
Yeah.
And I, honestly, when something just lands and I'm thinking, that is a blooming good idea, because I really struggle in hotels, like any sort of light. Like I'm one of them, I have to put a bit of black tape on the red light of the telly. Like I'm so
You want
precious.
blackout.
I want blackout, yeah. And so I said to Stephen, he's my tour driver, but he's also my uncle. And I just said to him, he did the last tour, I said, I've got a little extra job for you. I went, what? I said, I need you to be my sleep specialist on this tour. He said, what?
He's going to spray your pillow.
Said, what I need you to do is, I need you to go. I said, I've just been taking a few moments from my bedroom, what I need. I said, I bought a thermometer of it, 19 degrees. I'd love it to be 19 degrees. He went, you can sod off. I said,
love it.
I said, what you do while I'm on stage? You only sat there eating Dominoes. I said, get to the hotel, sort the pillow out. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to try when I'm in the hotels. Not as far as the footballers probably, but just
create that perfect.
Creating a little because I feel like a good sleep is going to unlock the day.
I agree.
And I just think that's the next stage. The ice bath's great, the paddle's good, the stretching, all the exercise, but sleep is key.
And how many guests have we had?
Victor.
Ollie Webb,
Yeah.
Victor, Samia. Wilco never sleeps, but John Wilkin never sleeps. He's got a bakery in Manchester. He just wants to go and work with the bakers at half 2 in the morning. But yeah, a lot do
talk
come
about
back.
sleep.
Absolutely.
And it's that. And obviously, what I'm getting is adrenaline at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And that spike at that evening. And it's
True.
why people, who work nights and, they don't live as long as people who don't, because they, that break in sleep, is key.
I tell you what, and we're not being sponsored by this company, but my sister got it, and she said it's this acupuncture mat. And
I've seen that come up on my Instas, yeah.
And it's just like really easy. I mean, you put it in a,
roll
in
it
a
out,
back, literally, but it's not a full size
No,
one. So
no.
it's only going to go for the back and neck, and then it's got like a little neck pillow. Now, I'm doing that in the morning and in the evening, and particularly in the evening, it just like relaxes. Now, I used to have a t-shirt, and then now I don't need the t-shirt, so it's literally on the spikes, so to speak. Oof. But that's a good one as well. I just thinking,
what does that do?
It just acupuncture, the benefits of acupuncture.
Yeah.
Just relaxes
So you're
you.
sleeping on this thing.
No. I'm doing about 15, 20 minutes.
You won't want to roll over on that, would you?
This is Harrison stepped on it once. And I got loads of grief from Jeanette. Yeah, you can imagine. So, but it's an acupuncture, don't you?
They put like needles in your butt.
Yeah.
But
So this thing's got needles in it, and you lie on it.
Replicate like spikes, but it's whatever it is, 34 quid, whatever. But it's I'm just thinking all these.
Love a gimmick.
It helps you sleep.
I'll have one of them by the end of the day.
But I come to
I love a gimmick.
I love a gimmick, yeah. But just
that sounds good.
The only thing, you could just DM them and they'll throw you one. They'll send you one.
Occasionally that does happen.
The algorithm's coming after you with that by the sound of it.
algorithm knows
It's finding
me.
you.
I'll tell you what I'm getting at the moment. Have you seen this one? It's a stretch thing where you sort of put it on your ankle and you pull it back like this and you stretch your calves and all that. Oh, that's every second advert for me.
It's
listening.
It's going to get you,
It
isn't
knows
it?
my ankles are knackered. And the computer knows.
Tell you another shot that Jason doesn't think. He does this very high lob as well.
I love
Really,
a
a high lob.
Signature shot.
But there's a lob,
Yeah,
which is such a key part of paddle.
Yeah.
He's got
This one's
the
on the
high
flight
lob.
path.
Skolzy.
Yeah, we
Skolzy.
got it.
Slow it down.
And Sylvan-esque as well. Sylvan
Right.
has that very high
Absolutely.
lob. And Jason's got that as well. But it's the drop shot for me. And his serve, bloody good serve as well.
I'm just thinking about Jason's Instagram, and I remember the video with John Bishop when you went to the paddle place down south, and there was nobody working there.
That's right.
And he said there's keys there, you can go in and help. You were like, we need a face behind it and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
What I think you do really well is shine a light on businesses and places everywhere you go. And you talked about that on your latest video about the tour and how you'll go out and clay pigeon shooting or do whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what's like, you got your wedding favours off my mum and dad, didn't
That's
you, from
right,
the chocolate shop?
Yeah,
I remember when you came and you took pictures there, and you always do that so well. Use your platform to shine a light.
Yeah, I think it's important, and I think I think and 9 times out of 10, I pay for stuff and also post about it.
Yeah.
Occasionally, you get something for nothing.
Yeah, baby.
Castor. Which is always lovely. But I'd never sort of promote anything.
But I think what you do so well is you understand the impact that has, and you understand it's kind of minimal effort for you because you're not bothered. It's like we say, we don't care too much about judgment. We do a quick little video, we post it, and that has a great impact on the business.
Well, I think so. People use it. I got a lovely message, in fact, from the Australian
the
mini
place
golf
in Adlington
thing the other day. And he actually sent me a lovely email. Let me see if I can find it because it was so nice. And I just went down. 1 second, you can pause this.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I like the suspense. It's quite good.
I just went down. I'd seen it advertised. And I think this is what's important. And this is what annoys me about influencers and stuff. People trying to get free stuff off small businesses and things. I think, you know what? Buy it and also post about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can afford it. Yeah.
Winds me up, you know what I mean? And there's no need for it at all. And so I'll always,
champion them
and post about it and stuff. And often, but like, for example, this Australian mini golf at Adlington, he actually just sent me an email through my website, and and I booked it for me and the kids. He said, I wanted to personally thank you for your kind words about our Australian adventure golf. We're thrilled that you enjoyed the experience, and your review on Facebook truly means a lot to our entire team here. As the operations director, I know how much dedication goes into making the courses special, and it's incredibly rewarding to see it appreciated by someone with your talent and perspective. Your support helps us continue creating memorable adventures for everyone who visits, and we're grateful to have had the opportunity to welcome you, which I think is
How lovely is
lovely
that?
touch. Yeah, but that is, for me, I just think I'm in a position, and it's a privilege.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
it's a privilege to be able to talk to as many people as I talk to.
Yeah.
And so, and I do the same thing. I've got a comedy club company, Manford's Comedy Clubs.
Yeah.
There's two ways of doing things, I think, in life and in business, and which is you can get to your place and pull the ladder up,
Right.
or you can leave it down,
Yeah.
and you can encourage other people to go, do you know what? It's great up here.
Yeah.
Come on up.
Yeah.
And I think that
Love
for
that.
me is worth more than anything you can earn.
Love that. Love that.
And what a fitting kind of last comment to say,
Yeah.
and everything about you, and to just go and touch on what you said about time and the importance of time. And we always say in our podcast, the greatest gift you can give in life is your time. And for you,
Yeah.
Jason, to come and share your wonderful story with us on the Ruxley on Sofa Stories means so much. Honestly, thank you so much for coming in, Jason.
That's a bargain price as well, I've got to say.
There you go.
1,200.
Ruxley.
1,200.
Honestly, really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
Oh, pleasure.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Thank you.
I hope you're going to have a bit of brekkie afterwards. You deserve
Absolutely,
it.
yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason.
Nice
Cheers,
one, mate.
guys.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Ciao. Ciao.